Hello. Today we're going to start Module 3, Lesson 2, which is called Discussing Cultural Similarities and Differences. Okay, so let's take a quick look at our objectives. I'm going to do a share screen here. Right here. Okay, so today we are going to compare weather, holidays, family life, currency in the U.S., and methods of payments to that of different countries. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of my objectives, and we'll start the lesson. Let's see. Share screen. This one. Okay, let's practice these words. First group of words are my country or mi país. All right.
Capital city.
Capital city or capital.
Capital city.
Next ones.
Official language.
Official language or idioma oficial.
Official language.
Our next words are weather o el tiempo. Tiempo.
Dry season.
Dry season o estación seca.
Dry season. Harvest season.
Harvest season. Época o temporada de cosecha.
Harvest season. Heavy rain.
Heavy rain o lluvia fuerte.
Heavy rain. Hot season.
Hot season. Estación cálida o época de calor.
Hot season. Wet season.
Wet season o estación húmeda o época de lluvias.
Wet season.
Our next group of words is the new year. Okay, año nuevo.
Celebrate.
Celebrate o celebrar.
Celebrate. Fireworks.
Fireworks o fuegos artificiales.
Fireworks. Light a fire.
Light a fire. Encender o hacer una fogata.
Light a fire. Make a resolution.
Make a resolution. Hacer un propósito.
Make a resolution. New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve o Noche Vieja.
New Year's Eve. Saint.
Saint o santo.
Saint.
Next word.
Torch.
Torch. Antorcha.
Torch.
Okay. Our next set of words are expressions or expresiones.
In fact.
In fact. De hecho o en realidad.
In fact. In the coming year.
In the coming year. El año que viene o el próximo año.
In the coming year. Marks the end of.
Marks the end of. Marca el final de.
Marks the end of.
Okay. Next words are general o general.
Beginning.
Beginning o comienzo.
Beginning.
Next one.
Differently.
differently, o de forma o manera diferente,
differently. Gather,
gather, juntarse o reunirse,
gather. However,
however, sin embargo,
however. Improve,
improve, o mejorar,
improve. Whereas,
whereas, o mientras que.
whereas.
Okay, now let's look at the practice.
Celebrate,
Celebrate. What is celebrate? Celebrar,
fireworks,
fireworks. Fuegos artificiales.
marks the end of,
Marks the end of. Marca el final de.
New Year's Eve,
New Year's Eve. Nochevieja. Oops.
wet season,
Wet season. Estación húmeda.
saint,
Saint. Santo.
however,
However. Sorry. Sin embargo.
capital city,
Capital city. O capital.
light a fire,
Light a fire. Encender o hacer una fogata.
differently,
Differently. De forma o manera diferente. Next one, harvest season. A ver. Temporada de cosecha. Oh, sorry. Gather. Reunirse. Saint. Santo. Differently. Let's see. Sería de forma, manera diferente. Fireworks. Fuegos artificiales. New Year's Eve. Nochevieja. In fact. De hecho o en realidad. Wet season. Estación húmeda. Light a fire. Encender. Last one, beginning o el comienzo o principio. Okay, next one. Antorcha. We know it's a torch. Estación cálida o época de calor. It is hot season. Nochevieja. We know it's New Year's Eve. Mientras que. Whereas. Encender. We know is light, a fire. Santo is a saint. Lluvia fuerte. Heavy rain. Fuegos artificiales. Fireworks. Marca el final de. Marks the end of. And reunirse is gather. Perfect. All right, let's look at listen. Okay, listen to the presentation, then choose the correct answers.
My name is Daniel, and I'm from Ethiopia, a country in Africa. The capital city of Ethiopia is Addis Ababa, and it is also the biggest city. Amharic is the official language of Ethiopia, but people speak many other languages as well. There are 4 seasons in Ethiopia. The dry season is from December to February. Then comes the hot season, from March to May. In fact, May is the hottest month in Ethiopia. The wet season is from June to August. There is heavy rain in this season. The harvest season is from September to November. The Ethiopian New Year is celebrated differently from the New Year in the US. The Ethiopian New Year is on September 11th. In the US, New Year's Day is celebrated on January 1st, and it marks the end of the old year and the beginning of the new year. In Ethiopia, however, the new year marks the end of the wet season and the beginning of the harvest season. On New Year's Eve in Ethiopia, many people light fires and torches, whereas in the US, there are fireworks. In Ethiopia, on New Year's Day, young girls gather flowers and young boys paint pictures of saints. In the US, many people make resolutions for the new year and think about how to improve or change their lives in the coming year.
All right, so number 1, which sentence is true about both Ethiopia and the US? May is the hottest month. There is a dry season, or there are 4 seasons. Okay, there are 4 seasons. You have summer, fall, spring, and winter. Number 2, what does New Year's Day mark in the US? The end of the old year and the beginning of a new year. The end of the wet season and the beginning of the harvest season. Or the end of the dry season and the beginning of the hot season. The end of the old year and the beginning of a new year. But number 3, which sentence is true about the New Year's Day, about the way New Year's Day is celebrated in the US? Many people make resolutions. People light fires and torches. or many children gather flowers. Many people make resolutions. Good job. Okay, let's get words 2. Practice these words. Okay, our first cluster of words are New Year, the New Year, which is Año Nuevo.
Bad luck.
Bad luck o mala suerte.
Bad luck. Celebration.
Celebration o celebración.
Celebration. Good fortune.
Good fortune or buena suerte.
Good fortune. Midnight.
Midnight o media noche.
Midnight.
Next cluster of words are places.
Field.
Field o campo.
Field. Island.
Island o isla.
Island. Rural area.
Rural area o zona rural.
Rural area. Southeast Asia.
Southeast Asia o sudoeste asiático.
Southeast Asia. Urban area.
Urban area or zona urbana.
Urban area.
Okay, our next terms are called money terms. Términos relacionados con el dinero. Money terms.
Cash.
Cash o dinero en efectivo.
Cash. Coin.
Coin o moneda.
Coin. Credit card.
Credit card o tarjeta de crédito.
Credit card. Currency.
Currency, moneda o divisa.
Currency. Debit card.
Debit card o tarjeta de débito.
Debit card. Note.
Note o billete.
Note.
Okay, our next set of words are family o familia.
Extended family.
Extended family o familia extendida.
Extended family. Immediate family member.
Immediate family member o pariente directo.
Immediate family member. Nuclear family.
Nuclear family o familia nuclear.
Nuclear family. Raise children.
Raise children or criar hijos.
Raise children.
Okay, now let's look under general, general.
Actually.
Actually o en realidad.
Actually. Compare.
Compare o comparar.
Compare. Cool.
Cool o fresco.
Cool. Goods and services.
Goods and services. Bienes y servicios.
Goods and services. Include.
Include o incluir.
Include.
I'm not sure, just a minute. Ron.
One second.
I'm gonna go eat.
So sorry, I had somebody walk in. So we were in the word include,
include,
incluir,
let in,
let in, o dejar entrar, let in,
let in, let out,
let out, o sacar,
let out, outside of,
outside of, o fuera de,
outside of, responsibility,
responsibility, o responsabilidad,
responsibility, tourist,
tourist, o turista,
tourist, tropical,
tropical, o tropical,
tropical, welcome,
welcome, o dar la bienvenida,
welcome,
all right, now let's get the practice.
good fortune,
Good fortune is buena suerte,
let in,
let in, dejar entrar,
tourist,
tourist, turista,
field,
field, o campo,
Southeast Asia,
Southeast Asia, sudeste asiático,
credit card,
credit card, tarjeta de crédito,
include,
include, incluir,
midnight,
midnight, medianoche,
nuclear family,
nuclear family, familia nuclear,
immediate family member,
immediate family member, o pariente directo. Next one, raise children. Criar hijos. Actually. En realidad o realmente. Outside of. Fuera de. Immediate family member. Pariente directo. Let in. O dejar entrar. Island. O isla. Welcome. Bienvenida. Dar la bienvenida. Extended family. Familia extendida. Coin. Moneda. Currency. Moneda o divisa. Good job. Next one. Dar la bienvenida. To welcome. incluir, include, criar hijos, raise children, sudeste asiático, Southeast Asia, medianoche, midnight, celebración, celebration, zona rural, rural area, dinero en efectivo, or cash, zona urbana, urban area, or last one, familia nuclear, or nuclear family. Good job. Now let's look at listen to. Okay, listen to the presentation, then choose the correct answers. Okay, and it says answers with an S, so plural, plural.
Hi, it's Daniel again. Now I'd like to talk about families in Ethiopia and compare them to families in the US. People in Ethiopia often live with their extended family. In the US, people usually live with immediate family members. This is called the nuclear family. In Ethiopia, it's usually the mother's responsibility to raise the children. In many families in the US, it's the responsibility of both parents to raise the children. In rural areas, there aren't many schools, so children often help their families in the fields. In urban areas, children actually start going to school from the age of 5, like in the US. Now I'd like to talk about the currencies in both countries. The currency in Ethiopia is the birr. Like in the US, the currency includes notes and coins. In the US, many people use debit cards or credit cards to pay for goods and services. In Addis Ababa, people also use debit cards or credit cards, but outside of the capital city, people pay in cash.
All right, so which of the following are true in Ethiopia and the US? Okay, most people live with their extended families. The same person usually has responsibility for raising the children. Children start going to school when they are 5 years old. The way people can pay for things is the same, or debit or credit cards are used all over the world, all over the country. Okay, most people live with their extended families. That is no, okay? That is usually in Ethiopia, not in the US. The same person usually has responsibility for raising children. Okay, in Ethiopia, it is usually the mother's responsibility. And in the US, it is the responsibility of both parents. So no for that one. Children start going to school when they are 5 years old. Okay, that is true. That's a yes. The way people can pay for things is the same. Okay, that is a no, because remember it talks about how only in the capital can you pay with a card. Everywhere else you have to pay with cash. So for the bottom one, where it says debit or credit cards are used all over the country, that is not true either. Okay. the way people can pay for things is the same? I don't think so. I think to me this is a no.
The currency in Ethiopia is the birr. Like in the US, the currency includes notes and coins.
Okay, they're talking about like the actual currency, the monetary, not the debit or credit cards. Okay, now let's look at read. Read and listen to the article, then click the exercise tab and choose the correct answers.
So you're thinking of visiting the Philippines. The Philippines is a group of islands in Southeast Asia between the South China Sea and the Pacific Ocean. Manila is the capital city of the Philippines. Filipino and English are the two official languages in the Philippines. The weather in the Philippines is tropical. The best time of year for tourists to visit the Philippines is from November to February because the weather is cool. New Year's Day is celebrated on January 1st in the Philippines, the same as in the US. It's a very important day. The celebration begins the night before, on New Year's Eve, with lots of fireworks like in the US. But in the Philippines, at midnight, many people open their doors and windows to let the good fortune in and the bad luck out. In the US at midnight on New Year's Eve, many people go to Times Square in New York to welcome the new year. In the US, this is also the time when many people make resolutions.
All right. So let's get the exercise. It says the country is a group of islands. This country is a group of islands. The US and the Philippines or the US. The Philippines is correct. Number 2, English is spoken in this country. The Philippines, the US and the Philippines, or the US. The US and the Philippines. Number 3, the weather in this country is tropical. The US and the Philippines, the US, or the Philippines. The Philippines. Number 4, New Year's Day is celebrated on January 1st. In the US and the Philippines, the US and or the Philippines. The US and the Philippines. Number 5, something special happens at midnight on New Year's Eve. The Philippines, the US, or the US and the Philippines. It's both the US and the Philippines. And number 6, people make resolutions for the new year. The US, the Philippines, or the US and the Philippines. That is the US. Let's have a check. We're correct. Good job. Now let's look at present. Listen to the presentation, then click Exercise tab to do the activity.
Hi, my name is Amanda, and I'm from Cuba. Cuba is the largest island in the Caribbean Sea. Havana is the capital city of Cuba and the biggest city. I'd like to compare families and currencies in Cuba and the US. In Cuba, extended families often live in the same house. In the US, nuclear families usually live in the same house. The US has always had one currency, the dollar. Cuba has used two, the Cuban peso and the convertible peso. Cubans use the Cuban peso, and tourists use the convertible peso. There were problems because of this. So now Cuba wants to use one currency only.
All right, so let's get to exercise. In the US, most people live with their extended family or nuclear family. Nuclear family. The currency in the US is blank, the currency in Cuba. It is different from. Okay, let's check our answers. Those are correct. Good job. Now let's do a quick review of our objectives. Let's see. Okay, so if you look, we did compare the weather in Ethiopia to the weather in the US. We compared the family life of Ethiopia to the US. We also compared the currency and how the pay is different in Ethiopia. We also talked about the holidays and the differences in the holidays between the Philippines and the US. And we also talked about family life and currency in between the US and Cuba. Okay, so don't forget to do the assignment for Module 3, Situation 2. Let me know if you have any questions, and tomorrow I will send you the new lesson. Thanks. Let's see.